Hey, what's going on, guys? So, we got a bit of new information regarding Master Roshi. We have some information that was translated based off of the V-Jump leaks and whatnot. And we also actually now have the stands that we can actually take a look at for everything. So today we're kind of going to go over everything, kind of try to take a look at all of the screenshots that we have available to us, as well as some of the information that we have been given, and just try to kind of think about what that means for Roshi as a character. Mind you, it's really early. He's not even out yet. We're still probably around a month away from when he's going to be coming out, but I think that it's still fun to kind of just think about what the character probably is going to have and whatnot. So kind of the big thing that everybody's going to be talking about, especially if you're on Twitter and whatnot, is going to be the fact that Roshi does not have a super dash in any way. Now, mind you, he apparently has this leaping technique, which seemingly is going to function very similarly to a super dash, but it's obviously not a super dash, right? So with regards to super dash, and the main thing that everybody keeps kind of harping on that for, or the reason they keep kind of thinking about that, is that super dash is kind of a big part of this game. Super dash does a lot for you with regards to ki blast, with regards to movement. If you want to get in on the opponent, you could have the opponent in block center in the corner maybe, and use super dash, go for a high low with, if you happen to have a 2L low. There's a lot of things with regards to that, even if you Dragon Rush, how you get to your opponent and stuff like that, right? So super dash is kind of a big core mechanic in a way that Dragon Ball is also kind of made around as well. It makes Dragon Ball unique. In other fighting games, there's not something that's like a super dash. You got to play a lot more of the ground game and whatnot. So with no super dash, even though it might seem like a huge scary thing, I think that as long as you are kind of open-minded with them hopefully doing very well with this leaping technique, that it could probably be okay for Roshi and he could end up in an okay spot. Even though this is a core system mechanic and somebody who's lacking in this realm, being Videl, is sitting in a pretty bad spot because of that, as long as that they're able to tweak the character and make him function in a way that he doesn't have all the drawbacks of not having a super dash and it's just a different thing, then I think that it should probably be okay. It might require a little bit more work, possibly, but maybe there's some pros and cons to that we don't know. But now kind of getting into the actual leaks that we have here, let's take a look at one of the things that they mentioned here. So there's going to be this lightning flash attack, and this is long range and can't be guarded in the air. So it says can't be guarded in the air, but more specifically, I don't know if that means that it's just like anti-air, or if you're actually just in the air, there's nothing that you can do in any way. If there's nothing you can do in any way against this move, this is going to be very interesting. If it's actually unblockable in the air, I don't want to say like an air grab in particular, but I'm wondering what the startup on that attack is going to be. How powerful can you combo after that? If you hit somebody, does it pull them to the ground? Is there a follow-up for that in any way? That part will be very interesting to see for sure. And then moving on, there's going to be this Hypnosis Technique. Now, unfortunately, there's not a very good way to see it. I kind of was going off of the information on the right side for all this follow-up and whatnot. If you kind of follow this thread, this person was saying that this kind of screenshot, the sad screenshot here, is the stun, hypnosis, whatever that it is. And that is actually at the very bottom of the first screenshot. So that is actually going to be here. And then I'm going to zoom in, and it's going to be all the way down here. This tiny thing right here. So apparently this is the Hypnosis Technique. Unfortunately, we don't have too much to go off of for that, but it says staggers the enemy that guards. So it seems that this more specifically might be sort of like a pseudo grab. It's obviously clearly not a grab, but if this can function in the way where, I don't want to say it's like a 6M, but this could be like a guard breaker, right? Where if the opponent is blocking and you do this move, which I'm assuming probably is going to have a bit of startup, then you can maybe call an assist and then get a combo from there. I think that that would be very interesting. I'm trying to think if there's a technique like that that functions currently that works in a guard break manner, but isn't a grab as well. It's such a possibly unique thing that we'll see, considering that it works in the way that I'm maybe expecting it to. But we'll see how that kind of comes around. And then after that, we are looking at his supers, and that is going to be the Matt's power attack, long pressed and to hold. So it says Kamehameha. So, seemingly is that there's going to be a regular power Kamehameha, unless I'm understanding or reading this incorrectly, but it says 1 gauge, and then it says Matt's power attack. Now, unfortunately, there's not any glimpses of a non-level 3 Kamehameha, but I don't know what else they could kind of do for that in particular. So it seems that he's going to have like a pretty standard Kamehameha, and then he's going to also have his strong bulked up Kamehameha, which is the main screenshots that we see here. He goes into that form, he gets all muscular and whatnot, and then he fires a very, very powerful Kamehameha. Obviously, he is the inventor of the Kamehameha wave. If you follow Dragon Ball, more specifically the original Dragon Ball, I don't think anybody was going to not expect some sort of full power Kamehameha in any way, shape, or form. And then, of course, they also mentioned that you have the Mafuba, right? Which we saw in the trailer. If you happen to watch that, it's going to look exactly how it is. The interesting thing to me on that is, considering that the Mafuba and the standard Kamehameha are both level 1s, what is the benefit for one over another? When you think of characters that have multiple level 1s, you have somebody like Janemba, where he has his sword, which does a little bit more damage, but then you have the other level 1, which is going to be more corner carry, where he kind of like grabs the debris, throws it at you. That will take you full corner to corner, right? And then when you have other characters, they normally have like follow-up level 1s. So Bardock has his punch that he could go into his javelin, and then you also have some characters such as Piccolo, who have something like a Hell Zone set up for a level 1. You have Zamasu, who has a very similar thing. Same thing with Kefla, right? These are characters that have an alternate level 1 that functions in a different way, but from what we could seemingly tell is that Master Roshi is going to probably do damage for this level 1, and it's not going to simply be like an alternative level 1 for some sort of setup. Now, that is of course speculation, but just based off of what we kind of have to go off of currently, that's what it seems to be as far as for the case here. And then kind of like reading the rest of this and whatnot, it's kind of just explaining what we went over, that this is going to be in the air and whatnot. You do notice that there is going to be this reverse Kamehameha, but after reading it a bit, it seems that this actually isn't going to be his alternate to the Super Dash. It seems that this is going to be some sort of like follow-up in some way. So the biggest question is, for the lack of Super Dash, is how do the air movements work in particular, right? So if you were to jump up in the air, let's say that you super jumped and used your double jump, how does Roshi leap when there's nothing like around him, right? Now, obviously, you could say, well, they could just make it happen. But I would assume that there's going to be something else that works in the way to kind of make him function with the Super Dash still. So I believe that this is going to be what it is in particular, is that you're probably going to have this reverse Kamehameha looking thing that might function in that way, as far as for getting in on the opponent or something else along those lines. I guess it'll be situational, depending on that scenario where he'll leap very, very high or to the opponent or whatever, versus doing the reverse Kamehameha, but we'll find out exactly how that goes. But yeah, I'm kind of excited for this. The more that I kind of look at the scans, it raises a few questions. We can see him with his staff out right here going in on TN with whatever move that this is. I'm going to assume that this is just like a normal in some way, but who knows. This looks like it hits both sides. Might be like Android 18's jumping or something like that, Android 21's. But yeah, it'll be really interesting. I think that having maybe his cane being used kind of like sword normals would be very interesting for sure. Unless it's just going to be part of some of his combos and whatnot. But being able to throw that out in neutral, I think, would be a very fun thing. Even though it's not a sword and people want the sword because it's all big and shiny and sharp and stuff like that, I still think that it would be very cool just to see it in that way, being used, giving him a little bit of extra range. Especially if his leap and his Kamehameha move that seemingly move him around the screen don't function too well, if they try to make up for it in another way. I'm still a little skeptical on what exactly they're going to do, but I'm still pretty optimistic as well. I think seeing Videl, hopefully Artsys understands that lacking a core system mechanic is not a good thing, unless you're able to make it up in another way or help the character benefit in other aspects as well. But let me know what you guys think about Roshi. Are you excited for him? I know that he's kind of polarizing as a character. Half the community seems to not want him or hate him. Half the community is finally excited to see him be put in the game after so long. We're already in the 3rd season, and we're still not going to get him from another month, probably from the date of this video. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'll make sure to post a link to all of these screenshots and to the information down below. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please make sure to drop a like if you haven't done so already, and consider subscribing to the channel if you are new here. Also, consider joining our Discord. Get in there, maybe have some discussions. Let us know in the comments down below, or if you do join that Discord, who you're excited about. Are you excited about Roshi? Are you wanting somebody like Omega Shenron? Do you want somebody like Tapion, God forbid? Or anybody else? Please be sure to let us know, and hopefully we'll see you guys in the next video.